Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, we're talking about the enemy's plan for school break. The enemy's plan for school break. We have parents who plan all sorts of things for their children's school break. But we also have those individuals who are not the least bit encouraging, loving, kind toward children, and they have their agenda. The enemy is using some of his very dark, disturbed, troubling types of folk to make plans for school break. Now, I know this message is not going to sit too well with some individuals who believe this world to be sweet, nice, kind. The type of individuals who don't believe that things can happen in their neighborhood. The type of individuals who are easily persuaded into believing that people are okay and all right. Yes, we're going to alert you who is the optimistic one that likes to see the glass half full rather than half empty. Time and time again, God has used people, places, and things to warn gullible, naive, even emotionally troubled, physically incapable type of parents, grandparents, and what have you about that wolf in sheep's clothing. You have your share of burdens, and of course you don't want to be burdened any more than you already are. But sometimes there is just one more thing that is put on your lap, one more task to tend to, one more child to care for. And when you don't really want to do something, you tend to slack a bit. You tend to find ways to get out of doing some things. You tend to procrastinate. You're not staying the course like you should. I get it. We've all been there. You may have been the type of person that was very much making sure that things got done until that accident took place, or until the divorce, or until something happened to take your money away. And now here you are with children to care for. Or you may have recently found out that you're pregnant, and now you've got a plan for the next 9+ months. Meanwhile, the other children are out of school, and what am I going to do? Or you may be the grandparent who has to start watching your grandchild now. I mean, there's so many different situations and settings where people are responsible for children along with everything else that they're responsible for. If we're going to be optimistic about anything, let us be optimistic about the fact that we were even chosen to care for children. Okay? Grandchildren, stepchildren, foster children, doesn't matter. You were chosen. If you're going to be optimistic about that. That God, He trusts you with His creation. He trusts that you're going to take care of those children. So when you live in a world where there's so much chaos, confusion, and there's that wolf in sheep's clothing, as the shepherd leading the sheep, you've got to make sure that you're looking out for those children. When you don't want to do something is usually when you should be doing something. When you don't feel like calling off of work, just might be the day where you should be calling off of work. You got that annoying little feeling that creeps up about someone in the family watching the children, helping you out, or what have you. Believe that feeling, and you might want to come up with some alternative measures. I'm telling you, this is the school break where that bad thing that you don't want to happen might happen. That thing that you said no wouldn't happen in my neighborhood just might show up. I'm not doing this message because, I just want to dampen someone's day a bit. No, I'm doing this message because I feel so moved to do it. It is a school break season. And this is when, I hate to say it, looking back, this is when people that I knew ended up getting their virginity broken. This was the school break, during the school break back in the day, where people ended up getting things stolen. This school break season is when people ended up joining gangs, cults, you name it. The school break season was also that time where the brains weren't developing as well as they should because folks decided to start using alcohol and drugs. School break, a lot of idle time. And then some folks didn't have a lot of idle time, but they were a part of various organizations and groups where there were people within those groups that had some idle time to mess around with little children. Okay? It's hot. It's muggy in some areas of this world. It's summer. People feel so moved to do whatever they feel like. The sun is out. They're in a good mood. And so they try all sorts of things. They do all sorts of things. Okay. If you want to safeguard your child or children, number one, you need to know where they are at all times. And don't always believe what they say. We got parents that end up breaking up during these seasons because someone didn't want to believe that the child was somewhere that he or she didn't need to be. So there's the fighting that goes on between parents. Well, you should have known this and you should have done this and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Meanwhile, somebody or both are not stepping up to the plate. Number two is that there should be some type of schedule, some type of plan for them. A plan where it is productive. Allowing the television, the other electronic devices that they enjoy playing around with to babysit them is not the way to go. Everybody knows that's poor parenting. Look at the scores, the test scores. Look at how they've done over the years. If it's not something educational or beneficial and they're spending hours and hours and hours on end with it, chances are they are not doing so well. Maybe it hasn't caught up with them yet, the slow decline of grades, but sooner or later it does. So don't let the electronics babysit them. Number three, don't put your children in the hands of people who you don't feel 100% comfortable with. You know they have a history of doing some shady things. You know that they're not always honest with you. So do you really think they're going to report everything that your child has done and everything they have done with your child? So we all have these little innate feelings about people. We get vibes, okay? God put something in our spirit that tells us that that person's not right. Believe it. Or I suspect that he might be cool around the adults, but not so much around the children. Believe it. Irritation, upset, impatience. Children are demanding, and not everybody is cut out to be a parent. Some folks, unfortunately, they force their will onto other people in so many different ways, including bringing children into the world. The man said he didn't want any kids, but you decided, let's say, Mom, that yes, we're going to have children anyway. Okay. So then you're upset because he doesn't want to watch the children. Then when he finally agrees, you find out that the children were not well fed that day, that he ended up being very mean to them. And he ends up yelling and screaming and saying some things about, why would you leave the kids with me anyway? If you expected the house to be clean, if you wanted me to cook for them, if you wanted me to take them here, there, and everywhere. I told you. You see what I mean? So you can see over time with people whether or not they really are into kids, whether they are their children or not. Okay? And then, of course, you want to be in prayer for your children. Because, yes, you might select the right place for them to be. You got the little schedule going on, right? You got them around some people who you trust. But, hey, the enemy has a way of doing some things to take that one that we once liked, loved, and cared for and turn them around into something evil, demonic, and crazy, right? So we want to keep our children in prayer when it comes to those who are influencing them. Of course, their protection from all harm and danger, that they will be productive in whatever activity they may be in, that the Lord will expose anyone who is not befitting in the group, that is demonic, ugly, dark, evil, that they be exposed. The demons can't stand being exposed. Okay? You will know when a person is up to no good when you question some things and they're always defensive, or they're putting on this little fake smile and they're coming up with excuse after excuse. Or your child is telling you some things and then you see some odd markings or what have you, and you know that your child don't typically talk that way or act that way. Come on now. Let us believe our children when they tell us the truth about some folks. Let's look for some evidence and proof with the other children. Let's talk to them as well. Hey, how was your day today? Oh, that's a nice shirt that you have on. And you start the little chit chat. What did you do today? Oh, you went off where? With who? Oh, who is that? Johnny, he was saying some jokes, some weird jokes. He was telling us about this, that, and the other with his parents. And then somebody showed us a picture about, you see what I mean? There is so many different things to be concerned about, yes, but at the same time, though, we cannot be so concerned to the point where we end up not wanting our children anywhere, because that's not what God has called us to either. We have to, at some point, especially those who have very young children, at some point, you are going to have to make that money to keep that roof over your head. At some point, you're going to have to pay that debtor or that debt that you owe. At some point, you're going to have to step it up in terms of your education or what have you, because you prayed and you asked the Lord for him to do some things in your life. You wanted his will to be done. So there's those things that you will have to do. And while you're doing those things, you also have to pray that God will put the right people around your children, right? And that you'll use these school breaks as a time of reconnecting, bonding, if you will, getting out and about with them, taking them to some places, doing something a little different, because children do get bored with the same old. Toys will only suffice for a time before they're going to say, can we go somewhere? Can we do something? Can I be a part of this organization in this group? You see. And you'll have to do your due diligence to make sure that these groups are up to par. Read the reviews, talk with people in the neighborhood. If there's activities that are taking place that are family friendly, then by all means, you make the necessary arrangements to get your child there safe and sound. The minute something is odd, strange, or what have you, investigate. Keep your children safe this school break. Allow the Lord to lead you, to guide you. Thank you as always for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Subscribe today. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. If you feel so moved to give to this channel, by all means, you can do that as well. The links are in the description box. Subscribe, like, comment. Blessings to you.